away from me.
Hello everyone and welcome to Social Distance Cinema Discussion. Sorry for the delay. I was working on a skit for this movie. I had it all written out and we actually went to shoot it, but we ran out of daylight because it's winter. So, yeah, sorry. This week we watched Christopher Nolan's newest film, Tenet. I've been a Nolan fanboy for a pretty long time, so that makes this movie even more disappointing. To me, Inception is Nolan's magnum opus. Maybe magnum opus isn't the best word. I guess that implies that he won't put out a better movie in the future. And I'm not saying that. I just think that Inception combines all of Nolan's past timey-wimey high-concept ideas and manages to get a big studio budget behind it. I use Inception as Nolan's baseline, meaning any of his movies that don't hold up to it are inherently subpar Nolan movies. So today we're going to take a look at Tenet, compare it to Inception, and show why the film kind of pales in comparison for two major reasons. First, let's look at the characters, goals, and stakes in each film. The main focus of every film is the protagonist, which functions best when they have clearly defined goals. In Inception, we get an understanding of Cobb's ordinary life, but we also know what drives him as a character.
Those kids, your grandchildren, they're waiting for their father to come back home. That's their reality. And this job, this last job, that's how I get there. I would not be standing here if I knew any other way.
Cobb wants to get back to his kids. It's a very human, emotional goal for the audience to easily understand. Tenet tries to give you a similar emotional angle with the character Kat. Just like Inception, she's trying to give her kid a normal life.
He's a cute kid.
He's everything.
Sidebar. Nolan always includes this children angle because he feels guilty about leaving his kids for long periods of time to shoot movies. To me, that mother-son relationship kind of falls flat. I understand that the plot demands that they not have too close a relationship, but simultaneously, I feel like I need to see that they care about each other rather than just have her explain that to me. We don't really get that in Inception either, but that's because the kids represent something more. They're Cobb's link to reality. In Inception, the kids are Cobb's main goal, but in Tenet, there's also a hint of revenge to Kat.
And the vengeful bitch uses God on the outside.
She wants to give a big old you to her husband. While vengeance is an easily understood goal, it also doesn't really make us root for a character. Our brains kind of shift gears waiting for a revenge story to become tragic. Also, all of this is kind of null and void because Kat isn't the protagonist.
I'm the protagonist.
The protagonist in this film is an empty shell named Protagonist. He's got no flaw, no arc, no family, nothing that makes him feel human. And his main goal seems to be, I need to save the world. Quick poll, how many of you have ever saved the world? It's too hypothetical of a goal for an audience to latch onto. That's why so many apocalyptic films always have great personal stakes for the character. And now that we know this, we understand why lines like this suck.
Everyone and everything that's ever lived, destroyed instantly. Says enough?
Including my son.
They haven't done the work to make me care about their relationship at all. It's an expository line with no other purpose than to remind us that we should care about something. Oh, the audience wants to care about something? F them. Also, the protagonist has little to no reason to help Kat escape her abusive husband. We're not given a reason. I'm not a big fan of pointlessly romanticizing things, but even that would have been better than what we're given. Right now, he just seems like a creepy stalker. I admit that some of the mystery and intrigue is due to the film being an espionage thriller. But I don't really see that as an excuse here. Take one of the best spy films of the past 10 years, Skyfall. I think one of the reasons Skyfall is seen as the best Craig-era Bond movie is because they give him relatable and human motivations and obstacles to overcome. Go back and watch that movie. It's f***ing amazing. The second reason is that the world of the movie and the film's internal logic are not explained well enough. Back when Inception came out, there were a lot of people saying that it was a convoluted mess. I don't really understand that argument though, because as long as you're paying attention, all the rules make sense, and the film never breaks them. This all comes with creating an engaging world for the film. There's a film trope called the naive newcomer. Basically, if the world of a film is too hard for an audience to wrap their heads around, the screenwriters will bring in an audience surrogate and a character to ask questions for them. In Inception, Ariadne is the naive newcomer. She asks questions and is given highly detailed and concise answers by trained professionals. Tenet tries to have a naive newcomer in the protagonist, and that's the primary reason I don't think it works. In Inception, Cobb, who is the main character, has all the answers. That's extremely helpful in highly complex Nolan films. The character who we empathize the most with and spend all our time with knows everything. Throughout the movie, whenever shit gets confusing, we have someone we trust who immediately explain things. There's a scene that I laugh at every time that I watch this movie where it's like 2 hours in and Cobb is still explaining shit.
Are those projections just a part of his subconscious?
Yes.
Are you destroying those parts of his mind?
No, they're just projections.
In Tenet, the most explanation about how all this shit works is given to us by a one-off character that we never see again. That scene early on where the protagonist meets the scientist, He starts to ask questions, but to me, the answers she gives just bring up more questions.
Amy.
If the bullet was in reverse, where was the shell? Doesn't it also have to run backwards in time? Using the movie's own logic, that would mean that the bullet would have had to have been placed there 50 years from now, and no one would have had to have touched it for 50 years until this exact moment for it to come back into the gun. This same problem occurs during the car chase. How does the car have a broken side view mirror in the past? Did the dealers sell them a car with a broken side view mirror? That's ground for a lawsuit. While that seems like a nitpick now, you realize that most of the action in the entire movie is brought into question now. Take this fight scene later on, for example. Technically, if he's fighting himself in reverse, then the reverse protagonist should be getting punched without the forward protagonist ever throwing a hand, right? He only needs to know that he will have thrown the punch.
You have to have dropped it.
It seems like Nolan got a little overly ambitious and didn't quite understand how his world worked. Remember, the naive newcomer is just an audience surrogate. Through it, the director tells us important information. During that information dump, the protagonist starts asking a ton of questions, and the scientist literally says,
Don't try to understand it. Feel it.
It's like he's telling us, don't think too much about it, just enjoy it. Which I'm completely on board with. If you don't want to get into the implications of time travel, then that's fine. But then don't hinge your entire conflict on time travel and don't have more scenes trying to explain it, for Christ's sake.
Their ancestors. If they destroy us, won't that destroy them?
No answer. It's a paradox.
I wanted to be on the first wave.
There is no first wave. Red team and blue team operate simultaneously.
But can we change things if we do it differently?
What's happened's happened. Which is an expression of faith in the mechanics of the world.
If you want me to turn my brain off, don't then tell me to turn it back on. F you, it's one or the other. I don't want to give the wrong impression here. I'm always going to love Nolan because of his views on the cinematic experience and his ability to somehow get insane budgets for high concept, original, and one-off ideas. And Tenet's a solid film. Really, really confusing, but still better than most of the crap that comes out on a yearly basis. It's just that Nolan's so good that now we have to hold this shit up to the gold standard. You're better than this, Nolan! What did you think the coolest thing about Tenet was? Anything you want to clarify? Think my take is hot garbage? Leave a comment below. And while you're down there, curb stomp that subscribe button and pulverize the like. Keep an eye out on Discord and social media for this week's holiday flavored movie. Also, if you wouldn't mind, recommend this channel to some people. But don't tell them that you know me. You do that and people think you're pity supporting a friend that sucks. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully I'll see you next week.